So here we are seeing how the Vedic knowledge emanated from the mouth of Brahmaji. Vidura is asking Maitreya Rishi to describe, "O great sage whose only wealth is penance, kindly explain to me how and with whose help Brahma established the Vedic knowledge which emanated from his mouth." And then Maitreya is answering, beginning from the front face of Brahma, gradually the four Vedas, Rik, Yajur, Sam and Atharva, became manifest. Thereafter, Vedic hymns which had not been pronounced before, priestly rituals, the subject matters of recitation, transcendental activities were all established one after another. And then Brahmaji also created from his mouth other Upavedas, the supplementary Vedic knowledge, Upapuranas. He created the medical science, Ayurveda, military art, musical art, architectural science, all from the Vedas. They all emanated one after another, beginning from the front face. And after creating the four Vedas and the branches of the Vedas, he again created the fifth Veda, Puranas and the histories. They are called as Panchama Veda, from his mouth. And how he was able to do that? Sarvadarshanaha. Because he was able to see the past, he was able to see the present and the future. Which method is required for the future? In Kali Santaran Upanishad, we see that. Brihad Nardya Puran, today we were reading in the morning. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted that verse, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nameva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyatha. Right? So this is all the description for the future. Vedic literatures were written down 5,000 years back. But that does not mean Vedic literatures have a date. Right? So this looks a little confusing to us, that 5,000 years back Vedic literatures were written down, and we are saying here Brahmaji created Vedas from his mouth, isn't it? So how the Vedas are eternal? How do we understand this Vedic knowledge is eternal? And Brahma is also a living entity. So how are you saying Vedic knowledge is free from defects? If it has come from the mouth of Brahma, definitely possibility of defects are there. We say Vedas are apurushayaha. They are not created by any human being. So how do we understand Anantarupa? Yes. It is not that because the Vedas are emanating from the mouth of Brahma is the origin of Vedas. Prabhupada gives an example. Lord Narasimha appeared from the pillar. So that does not mean the pillar is the birthplace of Lord Narasimha. The Lord appeared from the womb of Devaki. So does it mean womb of Devaki is the origin of the Lord? The Lord appeared from the nostrils of Brahma, isn't it? So that does not mean that the Lord, the origin is Brahma's nostril. Similarly, the Vedas emanated from the mouth of Brahma does not mean that Brahma is the origin of the Vedas. Which shloka in Bhagavatam very clearly says that this Vedic knowledge was actually given to Brahma in his heart. Tene Brahma Hridaye Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yat Surayaha. So in the very first shloka in Bhagavatam, it is said, this knowledge, Vedic knowledge, Brahma, was given in the heart of Adi Kavaye. Adi Kavaye is Lord Brahma. So it was given in the heart of Lord Brahma by the Supreme Lord. And then Brahma passed it down. Brahma gave this knowledge in his disciplic succession to whom? Narada. Narada gave it to Veda Vyasa. It is also said here, sometimes we wonder and we also say that earlier there was only one Veda and then Veda Vyasa divided the Vedas into 4. But here we are seeing all the 4 Vedas existed before and they emanated from the mouth of Brahma. So how do we understand? See, Veda Vyasa is only a compiler of the Vedas. He is not the origin of the Vedas. All originally Vedas, everything existed. Knowledge cannot be created. Knowledge is already existing. Truth is already existing. Truth is not created. It is existing. It was compiled according to time. Earlier, even one Veda was sufficient for understanding the Supreme Lord. But when Veda Vyasa saw that people of Kali Yuga, it is very difficult for them to understand the knowledge from that one Veda, then further he divided into 4. And then when he saw that even these 4 Vedas people will not be able to understand properly, they will misinterpret, then what did he do? Yeah. He wrote Vedanta. He compiled all the Vedas into aphorisms. But then he saw that even Vedanta Sutra, it will be very difficult for people to understand. Then he gave commentary on Vedanta Sutra in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. And to supplement these Vedas so that people can understand them properly, he wrote Puranas and Itihasas, Panchama Veda, which is called. So, he is the compiler of the Vedic knowledge which already existed. But he gave it according to the time and people. So when he saw that people of Kali Yuga will not be able to understand, then he understood it is required that people of Kali Yuga also should have Itihasas and Puranas. So he gave that work to all his different disciples, all the other great sages, who on his behalf compiled all these different Vedic literatures. Now, here it is said, not only the 4 Vedas, along with the 4 Vedas, many supplementary Vedic literatures were also given. There is Ayurveda, there is Dhanurveda, there is Jyotirveda. So all these Vedic literatures, they are not talking about supreme absolute truth, right? Ayurveda is talking about how to keep this body healthy and fit so that we can preserve this body properly. Dhanurveda talks about military science. Jyotirveda talks about astrology. So why all these things are required? So first of all, we have to understand what is the purpose of all the Vedas. What is the purpose of all the Vedas? Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, the purpose of Vedas. The purpose of all the Vedas is to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. What is that shloka? Vedascha sarve ahameva vedyaha. And then, there itself Krishna also clarifies, the original, real compiler, giver of the Veda is me alone. Vedanta Krit. I am the giver of the Vedanta or Vedic knowledge. Vedavit Chaham. I am the original knower of the Vedas. So actually, the real knowledge, the Vedic knowledge, that is why it is called Apurushayaha, because it is originally given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead only, who is free from all defects. So that is why Vedic knowledge is free from all defect. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the Vedic knowledge as it is. That's why you will find Prabhupada called Bhagavad Gita as it is. Because Vedas do not require interpretations. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to say, Vedanta Sutras, say for example, they are like the sun, because it is given by the Supreme Lord. It is all light. There is no darkness in that. And the so-called commentaries by people, they are all like clouds, which rather than showing the sun is actually covering the sun. Isn't it? So all these bhashas of Shankaracharya or by all these impersonalists, Mayavadis, they are all like clouds which is actually covering the sun. So, why the original compiler of Vedas in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam commentary was given, so that people who cannot understand, the less intelligent people who cannot understand the Vedanta Sutra, can understand that from the original compiler himself. So that is why Bhagavatam was given. Because people in Kali Yuga cannot understand Vedanta Sutra. It is very difficult. Prabhupada explains what is the meaning of Purana. Prabhupada very beautifully says, Purana actually means Purayati iti Purana. That means that which makes understanding complete is called Purana. Puranas are also called as, or Itihasas, means historical evidences. So it's a very beautiful definition. Because Vedic knowledge without Puranas cannot be fully understood, cannot be properly understood. So we should not neglect, oh, this is all Purana, Bhagavata is a Purana, Ramayana, Mahabharata, they are all Itihasas. Better we should read Vedas, Upanishads, they are original, isn't it? That is generally what sometimes people think. But here we are seeing earlier itself, from the original Brahmaji himself, from his mouth only, the 4 Vedas also came out, and the 5th Veda also came out from his mouth only. Panchama Vedas in the form of Puranas and Itihasas are also the emanation from his mouth. It is not, later on it is compiled by the great sages, that's all. But otherwise it is coming directly from the Supreme Lord and then from Brahma. So all this should be very clear to the devotees. Otherwise, we will lose that faith. We will be thinking of Puranas and Itihasas, Mahabharata, less important, and Upanishads are more important. It is not like that. The same subject matter which is explained in the form of aphorism is explained with historical facts in Puranas. That is what we should understand. Prabhupada explains that according to the Vedic scholars, there are 3 prasthanas. What are the three prasthanas? Three evidence for Vedic knowledge. Raghuttam. Nyaya prasthana, Shruti prasthana and Smriti prasthana. So all of them are considered to be Vedic evidence. One cannot say only Shruti is evidence. See, Nyaya is dealing the same subject matter with logic. Shruti is dealing with originally whatever is spoken. Nyaya, the same subject matter is explained with logical conclusion. And the same subject matter, when it is explained through historical facts or supplements from the Vedas, that is called as Puranas. So it is the same subject matter explained. Rather, Narad Muni explains that Srimad Bhagavatam is more important than those original 4 Vedas which emanated, because in the Vedas or even in Upanishads, direct glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not there. Indirectly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is glorified. So it's only an intelligent person who can understand. Isn't it? Say for example, Janmadiyasya Yataha, Vedanta Sutra says. Unintelligent person will not be able to understand. What is absolute truth? It is given from whom everything emanates. Now foolish person will start thinking, his mind will reel, that from whom everything emanates, is he conscious or is he some inanimate object? There is a possibility, he may start thinking. Isn't it? So even though Vedanta Sutra is actually referring to Krishna only, but it is indirectly referring. It is saying absolute truth is one from whom everything emanates. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying directly, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam. But Vedanta Sutra is only giving indirect reference. So unintelligent people will not be able to understand. That is why Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas were later on written down. They were compiled by same Ved Vyasa only. Madhvacharya, he explains very beautifully that actually from this understanding that all Vedic literature originally came from Lord Vishnu or Krishna, one can clearly understand that only truth is Vaishnavism or devotional service to Krishna. You see, it's very clear. If, let us say, if we understand properly that originally all Vedas, Vedic literature, everything came from Lord Vishnu or Krishna, then it is, you can easily derive the truth from that, that what is spoken in that is only devotional service or Vaishnavism. So Madhvacharya very logically establishes this, that actually the only truth in the Vedic literature is to attain Krishna by devotional process. Because everybody cannot follow devotional process, other methods are also given. Those who cannot surrender directly to the Lord, for them indirectly they can surrender gradually to reach to this point. Otherwise the goal is Vedischa sarve ahameva vedyaha. So he says, Vedanam prathamo vakta harir eva yato vibhu. It is that Vibhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who is Vedanam Prathamo Vakta. The original speaker of the Veda is that Lord Hari. Right? That is also very clearly said in Bhagavatam also. And Lord Krishna is saying very clearly in Bhagavad Gita also that Vedic literature is given by me. So then he is deriving, if you understand this principle that Vedas are originally spoken by Hari, then what do you understand? Ato Vishnu Atmaka Veda iti ahur Veda Vadinaha. So he is saying, because Vishnu is the origin of the Vedas, therefore Vedic principles should be understood to be Vaishnava principles. Vedic principles are to be understood to be Vaishnava principles, because originally the Vedas emanated from the mouth of Lord Vishnu. And therefore he is saying, therefore further what is he concluding? He is concluding, because sometimes people say, you are all Vaishnavas, so you are all worshipping Lord Vishnu. They are Shaivites, they are worshipping Lord Shiva. They are, follower of Shakti, so they are worshipping Durga. Isn't it? So Swamiji, you are all saying Vishnu is supreme. Why? Because you are all Vaishnavas. They are saying Shiva is supreme, they are all Shaivites. They are saying Durga is supreme because, they are worshippers of Shakti. So which one is to be understood? So Madhvacharya is establishing this fact very clearly. Shiva is not the origin of the Vedas. Durga is not the origin of the Vedas. Even Shiva Purana or Durga Purana or whatever different Puranas are there, Devi Purana, they are all emanated from the mouth of Lord Hari. He is the Prathama Vakta. He is the original, he is the origin of all this Vedic literature. First of all, we have to understand that. He is establishing. Once that is established, then you should understand the real principle in the Vedas is Vaishnavism. So what is he concluding? He is concluding another very important point. That Vaishnavism is not some sect which is created. It is not like they have created their sect, Shakti sect and Shiva sect. Like that another sect is Vaishnava sect. No. You see? So it is an eternal principle which is given in the Vedic literature. It is not invented that we have made one Vaishnava society. Madhvacharya made one Vaishnava society, so we are all Vaishnavas. No. Vaishnavism is an eternal fact given in the Vedic literatures. So Prabhupada is establishing that very beautifully through Madhvacharya. So Vaishnava is not a member of manufactured community of this material world. A Vaishnava is a real knower of the Vedas, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Vedescha sarve ahameva vedyaha. You see? So this has to be understood, first of all, very, very clearly. So if all the Vedas are meant to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the Vedas actually are described very beautifully in Bhagavatam. Prabhupada says they are called as Setu. Setu means bridge. It is a bridge between the living entity and the Supreme Lord. Now, in the material world, we are practically cut off from the Supreme Lord. It is a bridge between the living entity and the Supreme Lord. This Vedic knowledge will connect us back to that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Another meaning Prabhupada explains. This material world is an ocean of nishayans. It is ocean of darkness. Vedas is a bridge of knowledge. See? If you want to cross over this ocean of nishayans, you will drown in this. Correct? But if there is a bridge available, bridge of knowledge is available, we can climb on that bridge of knowledge and we can cross over this ocean of nishayans. So, Vedas are given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being very merciful to the living entities. The living entities have forgotten their relationship with the Supreme Lord. Vedas can revive that forgetfulness. When we read the Vedas, when we read Ramayana, when we read Mahabharata, when we read Bhagavatam, our memory can be revived. Something which we have forgotten. So mercifully, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He has given these Vedic literatures. So these supplementary Vedic literature like Ayurveda, all these things, they are not meant for some kind of, they are not different from the main goal. When main goal is confirmed, it is firmed up, all other just support the main goal. See, this is very important to understand. Ayurveda, as it is being propagated today, that today, nowadays we are seeing Yoga Day all over the world. One international Yoga Day has been fixed. And on that day, if you look out in the newspaper, Yoga Day performance means everywhere somebody is doing some Surya Namaskar, somebody is doing some asana, somebody is doing some pranayama, and they are thinking that is the meaning of yoga. You see, this is a misunderstanding of yoga. They are thinking yoga means just to keep this body healthy. And what do you do after keeping the body healthy? Engage it like cats and dogs for sense gratification. That is not yoga. You see? Vedic literatures are meant to connect us to God. That is the most important meaning of Vedic literatures. So they are mercifully given by the Lord to the mankind. So all these other supplementary Vedas like Ayurveda is just to assist for this goal. To assist us to achieve this goal, because we are living in material condition. If you are living in material condition, we have to perform bhakti with this body only. If we were in spiritual condition, Ayurveda is not required. Taking medicine is not required for spirit soul. Taking medicine is required only for this body. Maintaining the health of the body is not the prime goal of the Vedas. But because we are in conditional life, these supplementary Vedas are also required to assist us to achieve that goal. That is very important. Washing the vehicle, servicing the vehicle is required for what? So that vehicle can be maintained properly, not for the showroom. Nicely maintain it, keep it in the showroom. That is not the idea. Vehicle is to be maintained properly so that riding in that vehicle we can reach our goal, our destination. Similarly, health has to be maintained properly, not for sense gratification, but so that if we are healthy, we can serve the Lord properly. We can utilize our hands, we can utilize our legs, we can utilize our tongue, we can utilize our sound mind to think about Krishna, to read about Krishna, isn't it? To propagate Krishna consciousness. Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunanuvarnane. We can utilize our energy in service of the Lord. So, there was a question to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, don't you think now with modern civilization, we have progressed so much? When you were concentrating, when India was concentrating on Vedic civilization, the progress was so less. Right? Now we are seeing there are big, massive skyscraper buildings are there, aeroplanes are there, all these things are there. Don't you think Vedic civilization inhibits progress? So directly this question was asked. So Prabhupada replies. Very beautifully Prabhupada answers. So according to you, dog jumping on the foreleg, is that what you call progress? You see. So Prabhupada is saying, a dog is jumping on the four legs, and you are moving on the 4 wheels and both of you are going in the same direction, is that called progress? You are competing with the dog and you are saying it is progress. So it's a progress of animal civilization. That is not real progress. You see? So Prabhupada says very beautifully, what is the meaning of progress? The Vedic system is this. The human being has a certain amount of energy. It's very beautiful. The way Prabhupada explains all these concepts is so beautiful. Vedic system, what is the meaning of Vedic system? Human being has a certain amount of energy. What is that energy? Better energy than animals. Better consciousness. Our energy is better than animal. Our consciousness is better than animal. That energy should be utilized for spiritual advancement. Whole Vedic system is meant for spiritual advancement. Human energy is employed in more exalted direction than to compete with the dog. You see? Human energy is utilized for a more exalted purpose than to compete with dog. He is running so fast, so let me also try to run faster than him. Isn't it? That is not civilization. Then, further question was asked, but Prabhupada, don't you think that Vedic system is making people lazy? Now people are so active. People are working from morning to night, 12 o'clock. And that is how this huge civilization has come up. You see? So Prabhupada says, actually, if somebody follows Vedic concepts of life, if somebody follows this Vedic literature as it is given by the Supreme Lord, he will not be lazy. He will be more active than these karmis. You see? Prabhupada gave the example. Do you think one of the largest mela in India is that Kumbh Mela? People travel miles, sometimes even walking, just to go and attend that Kumbh Mela program. That is there for many days practically. And there people, right early in the morning, they get up early in the morning and they're all busy. They're all busy for spiritual progress, not for dog's race. In fact, then Prabhupada quotes, Vedic literature is saying, one should be active right from the age of Komaram. So where is the Vedic literature teaching us be lazy? Vedic literature is telling one should be active for spiritual progress from the time one has attained some kind of proper consciousness. Komaram acharet pragno dharman bhagavatam iha. You see? Then somebody may question, then what about all this material civilization, development, all these things, are they not required? Isn't it? So, isn't Vedic literature, that means saying that it is futile to attempt for all these things? So Prabhupada says, actually, when you are progressing towards spiritual life, in progression towards spiritual life, whatever other things may be required is different. But if our goal is only to develop, have all this economic development, this thing, then the whole purpose is lost. You see? So very beautifully Prabhupada explains that actually, materially, what is destined, you cannot get more than that. What is destined, you cannot get more than that. Prabhupada gives an example given by Prahlad Maharaj. He says, just like in a due course of time, unhappiness, distress comes in our life without endeavor. Similarly, without endeavor, even happiness will come. Why should you waste your energy for that endeavor? That which will anyway come. That which you cannot change. So Prabhupada and the Vedic literature points out, do endeavor in spiritual direction. Then devotee asks question, Prabhupada, if destiny is fixed, then why we should endeavor in spiritual direction also? That destiny also is fixed. Prabhupada says, no. Your material destiny is fixed, but you have spiritual freedom. That is very important to understand. We can change our spiritual destiny. In human form of life, that is the advantage Vedic literatures are saying. Otherwise, why Prahlad Maharaj is saying? Why is he saying that don't endeavor in material direction, endeavor for spiritual direction? If our spiritual destiny is also fixed, then why we have to endeavor at all? Isn't it? No. Prabhupada then further points out, not only spiritual destiny you can change, with spiritual endeavor you can change your material destiny also. By material endeavor you cannot change your material destiny. By spiritual endeavor you can change your spiritual destiny, and you can change even your material destiny also. Karmani nirdahati kintuja bhakti bhajam. You see? It's only possible by devotional service. So, then Prabhupada quotes about, and with that we will end, that how actually the whole Varnashrama system was meant for this purpose. We are seeing here, the whole, there is, before that we saw the Brahmanas, the fire sacrifice, all these things, the 4 social order, the 4 Varnas, all of them were created. Vedas were created. The purpose of all these things is basically, the main goal is to worship Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purpose of Dhanur Veda, military science, is that those people who try to take away people from this main important goal, they should be subdued with military force. Isn't it? The purpose of Ayurveda is to maintain the health of the body, to be utilized in the service of the Lord. So all these Vedic literature, subsidiary Vedic literature, goal was only for this. So very beautiful, this thing Prabhupada quotes. The Vedic civilization of self-realization begins from Varnashrama system of social organization. Varnashrama acharavat purushena parahapuman Vishnur aradhyate. So Prabhupada points out this most important word. Varnashrama is arranged for the goal of Vishnur aradhyate. Everyone should offer fruits of his occupational duty to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. That is why Vedic system is called Varnashrama. And how Prabhupada defines Varnashrama is very beautiful. Can anybody define what is Varnashrama? Just in few sentences, Prabhupada very beautifully describes what is gist of Varnashrama. With this keeping this in the mind, they are all meant for Vishnu Aradhyate. Prabhupada says, spiritual or social organization with spiritual perspective. Social organization, organizing the society in such a way for spiritual perspective. So Prabhupada says Varnashrama literally means social organization with a spiritual perspective. Today it is only social organization, no spiritual perspective is there. That too we are all trying to make it classless, isn't it? So the whole goal is lost, the whole Varnashrama is lost practically today. So this is what we can understand. Prabhupada is saying that spiritual knowledge is the main topic of the Vedas, but to help the human beings, spiritual pursuit of knowledge, the other informations as above mentioned forms necessary branches of Vedic knowledge. So this goal should never be lost. then all other things, when they assist our real goal, then it can be all utilized in the service of the Lord. So we'll stop with this. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.